I'm not quite sure what she takes or anything like that. Like I just assume all of my kids are medicated, and she runs around and she purely thinks she's a tiger, so I have to refer to her as a tiger cat. Sorry. So yesterday I didn't have very many kids yesterday, and she was sitting there, and one of the little boys who'd been waiting for a while wanted to pick out a movie, and she threw a fit. But instead of like crying and screaming like normal kids do, she found all of our dog-shaped items. So like we're talking stuffed puppies or like little dog toys or anything like that, and she picked all of them out of all of our toys, and I realized I have cabinets and cabinets full of toys, and threw them all into the infant room and sat there and just screamed for like 5 minutes straight because she didn't get to pick out a movie.
Was it bloody murder or just screaming?
No, just screaming like a cat, or like a tiger. She thinks like she just started screaming like rah 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 rah
That's
for like
fantastic.
5 minutes straight.
I love it. I love OCD tantrums. I will throw all the dog-shaped objects at you!
Yeah.
I love it.
Amazing.
It was the weirdest thing. I've never seen a tantrum like that before. And it took her longer to pick out all the dog-shaped toys than for her to wait the 20 minutes that this kid's movie was on.
But damn it, she made a point, didn't she?
Yeah.
She made
Yeah,
her
like
point.
She made her damn point.
You gotta like the dedication.
Well, on that pleasant note, everyone, welcome to episode 109 of All Things Good Nerdy, recorded live on what is today? Sunday, 25th of May, your Memorial Day weekend. So before we start, a thank you to everyone who has served or will serve. That includes you, Mr. Anthony Bachman. We know you're a former Navy man. Thank you for your service.
Cheers.
And now we'll stop being serious on this show because that's not what we're known
Yeah,
for.
fuck that shit.
Because we're all
that shit.
talking to robot penises.
No, we're not all talking to robot penises.
Just two
I
of
just
us.
have a headset.
The three of us, yeah. And for those that are wondering, Naki refers to robot penises as nice stand-up non-headset mics.
It's weird. It's a robot penis.
It's a robot penis. And Naki, I will remind you, since this is one of your first times not using the headset mic, if you don't look at it and talk in its general direction, we don't hear you as well. So the first part of your story... If you want to just... No, I'm not actually going to do this on camera because I don't want the screenshots done. But make sure you get close to the mic. But joining us today, because as is normal, we have a special guest.
To the mic.
That sounds like old school radio.
Oh, I lost my chat room.
But we do have a special guest this week joining us from the Unqualified Gamers podcast, a fellow member of the Gun and Geek Podcast Network. We've got Cody.
I'm a special guest?
Special guest.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure.
You've been promoted, sir. You've been
That just
promoted.
means if you hit your head, we won't laugh at you.
That's also true.
You're
Fantastic.
a special guest.
Thanks for inviting me. I promised literally nothing, which is pretty much my MO.
That's what we promised, too. You're good.
Fantastic.
Looking in the chat room, Big Papa, a.k.a. one Stephen John Drew, said, I thought you all said we're all fucking robot penises. I was wondering.
Well, Naki might be. I don't know.
I know you can't see my robot penis, but it's right here. It's not in my lap, I promise.
You can actually see mine. Sorry, guys. I got a big robot penis right here.
Yeah, yours is kind of dangling, whereas Cody's is all erect and near his mouth.
That's because my Yeti's not excited.
Chris is dangling in his face, too, so that it still kind of works.
What does it mean? I'm going to get teabagged or something? Or I just need to sit under?
You're going to get dick slapped is what you can get.
That would hurt to get slapped with a microphone.
You're gonna get
Robot penis dick slapped.
In case you're just joining us, this is 101 the Robot Penis Podcast. Coming right at your mouth every Sunday morning before church.
And we wonder why people don't like us. Because we spend 10 minutes talking about robot penises.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Should we get into some of the good stuff?
Didn't we just do that?
I'm pretty bummed that was the good stuff. That's
Or
the
we
good
do some of the non-robot penis stuff. How about that?
Are we hoping the good stuff gets into us, if you know what I mean?
Let me turn off my camera real quick and we'll find out.
Careful. Careful.
Oh, that hurts! Ow! Ow! I mean, what?
I think Chris just sit on a robot penis. That's gotta hurt.
Maybe.
Or be awesome. No way to know, really.
Looking in the chat room, Big Papa said, I didn't hear Naki move that. I'm fairly sure that means she's got audio on her mic. I don't know what he means there. And then Draftsman has said, this episode of All Things Good and Nerdy is brought to you by Enjoy, the sex toys made of medical grade 316 stainless steel.
Nice.
And then, in an effort to screw me...
Also, happy anniversary. May 25th, 1977.
Star Wars?
Star Wars.
No. Yeah. Sweet. And then Big Papa's trying to give me more work, it looks like. He's telling Naki to tap on the mic, so it makes me edit, and I'm not going to do it, so joke's on you.
Wait, what?
No editing.
No editing. But let's stop the robot penis talk, because, yeah, probably we're going to lose listeners, but who cares, huh?
There is good stuff to talk about, too.
Yeah, let's get into the good stuff. That means we're getting into the news of the week. And does anyone want to go first? Any takers?
Mine is kind of aggravating stuff, so you might want to wait for me. Or
do you need me to have super dick mode ready for you, Naki?
I don't know, because I went off about it already, so I don't know if I have another anger thing in me.
So that's
actually, I decided I'll go with a quick, cute one. I can do that. Disney released its first trailer for Marvel's Big Hero 6. If you haven't seen this yet, it's a short little video. It's going to be amazing. It's one of the things that when Disney bought Marvel, they get the entire catalog, everything that's not currently held under license by Sony and 20th Century Fox. So they don't have Spider-Man, they don't have the X-Men, but they have the rest of the Marvel Universe. And part of that includes some really weird books that were like short miniseries, like Big Hero 6. It's a crazy Japanese team. I can't remember, some of the names are just ridiculous, like Lululemon and other stuff. Like there's a girl that's got a purse with magic items in it, but the whole video is the kid putting together a robot, and it looks like it's going to be just a hilarious little flick that will be great for little kids, in the Disney Pixar world, but based on Marvel superheroes. So more of the collaboration is continuing with Marvel and DC, and we're going to get more and more awesome stuff out of it. It kind of made me think about how badly Marvel is whooping on DC when I went to the theaters Friday and I looked up and realized that on the marquee was Captain America Winter Soldier, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and X-Men Days of Future Past, and not a DC movie to be seen.
Well, it's because the next DC movie's not until next year, isn't it? With Batman vs. Superman, or is that 2 years out?
I think, is it 2016 or 2015 now with the new date?
I thought it was 2016, same as Captain America 2.
Oh, yeah, so it's 2016.
Yeah, so that's the next DC movie you have, so it's kind of...
So thank God Arrow's awesome, because otherwise they wouldn't be putting out anything good.
That, and they're hoping, I think the other TV shows they want to be good also, because that's DC's market right now, is the superhero TV show.
Well, their superhero movies suck.
And to be fair, Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman was an awesome show.
Actually,
love that
it's not terrible. They still show reruns on the hub sometimes, and I'll watch them. I fully admit it.
Oh, when I was
Terry
home over,
is still hot.
Yeah, when I was home over Thanksgiving, they were showing reruns, and I was like I was sleeping on the couch because I felt like it, and I was getting ready for bed at 12, and put on the TV. Lois and Clark was on. Stayed up till 3 in the morning watching Lois and Clark episodes,
Nice.
which
They
I
had some
never
good
do.
writers on those episodes, and Dean Cain was a really good Superman.
He's my Superman. He'll always be my Superman. Sorry, Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, sorry, Chris Reeve.
Yeah, I can't say that. Christopher Reeve's still my Superman, but Dean Cain is a close second.
Mm-hmm.
No, mine's the animated Superman, and I can't remember the guy's voice that does the voice of him now all of a sudden. Wow, brain fart.
Steven Weber?
No, from the Superman Adventures in the early 90s.
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones. No, it's a shit. Tim Daly,
shit?
that's it. Tim
Oh,
Daly.
yeah, sorry, it's the other guy from Wings.
Yeah.
I thought of Steven Weber, but that's the guy that did The Shining.
Yeah, I had to go and look that up real quick. And nice little fun fact. Have you guys ever seen the little web series he does with his son called The Daily Show?
Yeah, because isn't it his son is now the new Superman voice,
His
right?
son was the voice of Superman in one of the latest movies.
Yeah, so yeah, they've both been Superman. I love it because they did the video where they fought Kevin Conroy.
Yes, he fought Kevin Conroy in one.
Fucking amazing.
And then in one of the other ones, he also inducts his son into the League of Supermen when he's got Dean Cain there with him and Brandon Routh as they train him to be the new Superman.
Yeah, which was cool. Wasn't somebody Didn't they have somebody on an iPad like they wouldn't show up?
It was Dean Cain because he was on
Was
an
it Dean
iPad.
Cain on the iPad? It's like, yeah, I'm not going to actually show up, but I'll just be on iChat.
It was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, he's done like 3 different episodes of The Daily Show that are all Superman related. But the one with Kevin Conroy is fantastic because it opens with Kevin Conroy holding him by the throat and giving the monologue from The Dark Knight Returns.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's Kevin Conroy, let's be honest. It's badass.
Yep. And if you have to ask who Kevin Conroy is, turn this off, turn off your computer, leave, and go shoot yourself.
That's true.
No. Educate yourself. Go watch the animated series of Batman.
Okay, fine. Leave and go watch the entire Batman animated series and don't talk to anybody until you're done.
Shooting yourself is not a good option.
That's a lot of stuff.
One or the other. Those are your choices.
I go for the more humane option, where you don't shoot yourself.
It's interesting we've been talking about Batman the Animated Series because I didn't check the chat room, but we were talking about Arrow first, and Draftsman said, on that note, Arrow's awesome, a solid crime drama that combines the dark deco and noir style that was started by Batman the Animated Series. So it's like we inadvertently referenced his point. So go us.
Are we going to have another show where we just talk about Arrow? Because I'll just leave.
No, you just need to watch Arrow at some point.
You need to watch Pacific Rim.
I will watch Pacific Rim when you watch one season of Arrow. I'm going today, Anthony. It's okay.
You're all behind.
Everybody's behind. It might be on Tuesday.
I'm going today.
A little bit.
It's so worth it. It's so fucking good.
That's what I've heard. But we've had this news about Marvel winning everything. There's been some news that came out at the end of this week. Maybe Marvel's not winning at everything like we thought. First off, the Daredevil TV series, they've lost showrunner Drew Goddard. He had other commitments, and he has now left the program. They've already replaced him, though. It was really fast, with a guy by the name of Stephen S. DeKnight, who is also another Whedonite, worked on Buffy and a couple other programs. But it doesn't seem like...
Okay, see, then I'm happy, then that's fine.
Yeah. He also, Goddard worked on Cabin in the Woods with Whedon and also Angel, and I guess DeKnight had done Buffy, and then he was a producer on Dollhouse and Angel also. So it's the same background. The difference is Goddard's a huge Daredevil fan, self-admitted, but I don't think there's ill will there because he's still staying on as a creative consultant. A lot of people are theorizing he's leaving Daredevil because he's also writing the Sinister Six movies for Sony, and Sony's put a rush on those. The Sinister Six movies I don't know why we're making. But I guess the real big news...
Because Sony will never, ever give up the Spider-Man franchise. That's why they're making it.
Yeah, that's true.
You will get a Spider-Man-based film from Sony Pictures every 3 to 5 years for eternity as long as they turn a profit. They don't care if they're good. They don't care if they're fast. They don't care if people like them. As long as it makes a profit, Sony will keep making them.
That is correct.
They're coming at it as a straight corporation that bought a property. They're just going to keep pumping those movies out as quick as they can for as long as they can so that they don't lose that license.
And one more thing I forgot to mention, if you don't think DeKnight can handle superheroes and fighting, he's also done Smallville and Spartacus. He's got showrunning roles in those too. So it's not a bad hire for Netflix there. But the real big news, which has a lot of people bummed out, is about Ant-Man. And I'm sure you guys might have heard already, Edgar Wright is no longer attached to the Ant-Man movie after writing it since 2006 and being attached to it.
Since 2006?
Yeah, he's been attached to an Ant-Man film since 2006.
They've been writing an Ant-Man film for 8 years.
Yeah, no, that's what's mind-blowing about this, right?
That is dumb. I'm not bummed about it. If it took him 8 years to figure out something that worked for the studios, then something's wrong.
I'm not super bummed either, but I'll say the unpopular thing. I'm not a huge fan of Edgar Wright's movies. They're okay.
In fairness, you've got, 50 years of continuity with Hank Pym and 3 different Ant-Men. So trying to get one storyline that encapsulates everything that he can actually make the studio greenlight, in all fairness, I could see where that could take 10 fucking years.
Let me take Cody's point first. He did Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, At World's End. What am I missing?
See, I could watch all of those movies on
Scott
YouTube.
Pilgrim.
He did Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Okay, so that's a solid portfolio.
Yeah, he's done good movies. I love Scott Pilgrim, but like the Cornetto trilogy, I'm just like, it's okay.
I love them. I could sit and watch just Edgar Wright films all day and be happy.
See, that's why I wasn't so super bummed to hear him leaving Ant-Man. And I guess from what the Latino Review is reporting is that he left because of script issues, is that Marvel had done a rewrite to try and make Ant-Man fit better into the new movie universe, and he wasn't very happy with the rewrite.
So does that mean him and Joss Whedon didn't get along? Because I'd be really kind of bummed by that.
Well, it doesn't seem like Joss Whedon and him don't get along because Joss Whedon posted a selfie of himself on Twitter that's him holding up a Cornetto cone.
Yeah, he was holding up a Cornetto, like saying, sorry that you're going.
Yeah, I mean, and James Gunn's also commented on the fact to say, he goes, I love both these guys. He goes, but sometimes people just don't work out together.
That's true.
So they're spinning it the right way, and both parties are saying it was a mutual split. There's no ill will, but who knows at this point. They'll find someone to fill the role. Ant-Man's not slipping. But again, I kind of echo Cody's fact. If they've been writing it since 2006.
Yeah, they gotta. I mean, they have to do the movie at some point.
Right, and I think they're supposed to start filming after Avengers, but I'm not sure. I don't know. That's my Debbie Downer news.
Well, and the way movies are done these days, it's not like they couldn't start filming without a script. It's been done before.
Yeah, it's called Iron Man 1.
Now.
I bet it's being done right now on a bunch of different movies.
Star Wars has a script. We just don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Once they fired the one writer and hired new people.
Michael Van Arndt was fired, I believe it is, and then Lawrence Kasdan co-wrote the script, which is not terrible. I'll be honest, guys. I didn't think I'd say it. I'm really excited for Star Wars. I thought I'd be cautiously optimistic, but now I'm like, fuck it, I'm in full bore. Star Wars.
I'm stoked. I'm totally stoked.
I'm still mourning the loss of Shadows of the Empire as part of the expanded universe.
That one
Fair
hurts.
enough.
Someone told me that is included in because the entire expanded universe is no longer canon, right?
That's correct. The only stuff that exists is the 6 movies, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and the upcoming Rebels cartoon.
So that's, I mean, I'm sure I know you guys have talked about this already and all that stuff, and I don't want to rehash it, but I was okay with like 99.9% of it. But Shadows of the Empire, my God. One of the best Star Wars stories, does not mess with canon, fits in between 2 of the movies.
It was designed perfectly to fit in between the movies.
Yeah.
It doesn't... Anyway, my heart broke a little bit when that happened.
But it's one of those things, like, I guess it doesn't bother me as much because like, it still exists. You still have that comic. It's not going away. Now you're just going to have new Star Wars stories that may take some parts from that.
Yeah, but
because they can still incorporate they can incorporate whatever they want. They're just not saying that anything else is canon.
It still exists, but it doesn't exist in the same way. I don't know how to best describe that.
I see. I guess my nerd rage has boiled back down to simmer on that because I've had to deal with the Marvel films, which I love all the Marvel films. But you know what? In the normal Marvel universe, Nick Fury's a white guy.
Yeah, but you see, the promise behind Shadows of the Empire when it came out, 96, is Lucasfilm and Nintendo and all those guys being like, this is designed to fit right between episodes 5 and 6. This is your bridge into those. This tells you the stuff you haven't seen. And they did this huge comic run, the huge game run, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, nope, it's gone. And I'm like, I kind of remember myself at that age.
Right now, I'm reading the Brian Wood Star Wars, which takes place after Episode 6. And it's amazing. And it's still coming out. It's happening right now. Amazing artwork, great story. None of it matters.
That was one of the stories I was bummed to lose. The other was the Tim Zahn trilogy. The Thrawn trilogy, rather. That one I was bummed to lose also.
I still got that in my Amazon cart. I just haven't ordered it yet.
You
I
have
need
to do it. It's
save
great.
some more allowance.
Everybody always talks about the Thrawn trilogy as like the best one, and I never got into that. The only trilogy I read was the one with Kip Duran and the Sun Crusher.
Oh God, that was interesting. The ultimate Gary Stew.
So amazing. I mean, I was 10 when I read it, so I don't remember how.
Well, if you get the chance, they've done the Thrawn trilogy. Dark Horse did a comic series of it too, so you can pick up a giant trade that's just comics of it. Really
that's what's in my Amazon basket.
Novels
are fun, but if you give me a graphic novel, I'm gonna take that any day.
Yeah, they had all those digital versions on sale on Star Wars weekend, and it was fantastic because I picked up a bunch of stuff I hadn't read to read on my Kindle. And then
Seems legit. Seems legit.
Yeah, it was fun, but I know Naki's gonna rage out when she has her news. Cody, did you have any news point or anything you want to bring up for us to be your news of the week or your big news?
No, I am unqualified to not only host my own podcast but also to appear on other people's. No news has happened in my world. Now I'm going to be on ATGN next Sunday.
See, that's news.
Because that's because of
You
news.
heard it here first.
Because of news that's going to happen, and that is Mario Kart 8 comes out Friday.
That's true.
And I am having a Mario Kart 8 launch party. Sorry, I should have invited you guys, actually. Where do you live, Chris? I don't even know.
You live in West Virginia?
Okay, yeah, I didn't think that was going to happen. So, Naki, if you want to drive all the way into the city for it, you're more than welcome.
Actually, wait, are you doing it Friday or Saturday?
Friday.
Oh, yeah, no, I gotta work. Otherwise, because I'm off on Saturday night, so I would do it on Saturday.
I might have another one Saturday. I haven't decided, but I'm excited because, like, Nintendo is really the only game publisher that still makes great local multiplayer games.
This is true.
Like, you can sit in a room with a bunch of people, play the game, and it's really fun. And it's not split screen bullshit like Halo or something, because that's not good.
Yeah.
And I didn't do, I got Mario 3D World, which is also multiplayer, but I've played it with some friends, but I have never had a bunch of friends over to sit down and just play it for a long time. So this is like Mario Kart, So we'll see if we can relive my high school days in Mario Kart 64. I don't know.
Yeah, I love those games so much. The fact that there's one coming out that they're bundling with the Wii U, I was like, that's a system seller potentially. But I was like, I just can't. I don't need another console right now.
Yeah, I'm a mark for Nintendo, and Smash Brothers is my favorite series pretty much ever, so...
He's pretty much a walking Nintendo billboard.
I did actually just pick up a Nintendo 2DS last weekend, though, because it was $100 on sale at Target with Pokemon X on it.
How are you liking it?
I kind of like it. I've mostly been playing Ocarina of Time 3D, though, because I love that game, and I bought it immediately and started playing again.
And do you love it?
I am in love with it. I love Ocarina of Time is one of my favorite games of all time, though. So,
well, yeah, It's funny on our last Unqualified Gamers podcast, I actually insisted to John that the best console on the market right now is the Nintendo 3DS, bar none.
I would agree with you, actually.
You can take your Xbox One, you can take your PS4, whatever. I've had people walk up to me on the train and challenge me to Pokemon battles.
Yep.
It's amazing. It is nothing else can do that. There is no other thing in the world where random people on the Chicago public transit system are walking up to you and being like, "Hey, do you want to trade Pokemon?" It's like it's not a thing. It's
pretty awesome.
And it has one of the biggest game libraries out there now because you can play any 3DS game, DS game. You can play all the old virtual console games on there. It's fantastic.
How much is the new 3DS going for right now?
I don't know. The 2DS was on sale for $100. Its regular price is $130, I think.
Yeah,
that's not too bad.
$189, I think, is what a 3DS goes for now, or $200, something like that.
It depends if you get the XL or I have the regular size, but there's the two different sizes that you can get to.
Yeah, regular you can probably get 150 used, I would think. Probably at the
see. A 3DS regular size on Amazon right now is $189. An XL is $185 on sale right now.
Oh,
maybe that's what I'll ask for Christmas this year.
It's a fun console.
I have yet to have Cody's experience of wanting to trade Pokemon with people, but I was super excited during C2E2 when suddenly my Street Pass just stacked up and it was wonderful. I suddenly have a shit ton of Pokemon miles, stuff like that. Really
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, last weekend at Anime Central, I got 240 Street Passes.
That's awesome.
Only I feel like you're slacking there, Cody.
I kind of was, actually.
Yeah, so it's $180 on Amazon right now. You can get a 3DS XL, and it says that supposedly it comes with a free download code for Pokemon X and Y. Now, do I believe that? I don't know. But Pokemon X, and I got Pokemon X. I've played it a little bit. It's really fun. But I played a lot of the Pokemon games when I was younger, so it was like a return to old stuff.
I don't think we're friends yet. We don't on the DS. But as Cody knows, I will suddenly bombard you with things if I see you online.
So what you're saying is we need to trade DS friend codes so I can get free stuff.
I will, because it's true. Cody, how many times have I done that to you? Where suddenly you got slammed with stuff.
Pretty much every time I went online, the first like 2 months I had the game, I'm like, do this, and I'm like, I don't even know how she's doing that. Like,
So I tell you what, Naki, post show, I'll take a picture of my friend code and I'll send it to you so we can be DS friends.
Okay, we'll be DS friends, and I'll send you lots of stuff.
And I forgot, the other game I'm playing on there is Star Fox 64, which is also fantastic.
that is one of the best video games ever made.
Yes.
That is in my top 5 all time.
I still have my Nintendo 64 sitting in my garage with GoldenEye, Ocarina of Time, and Star Fox, which are 3 of my favorite games from that time period. GoldenEye hasn't aged as well, but
Oh God, no! It's bad.
but to this day, I will still plug in Star Fox or Ocarina of Time and still have just as much fun as I did back then.
Hell yeah!
I had to put down my Ocarina of Time 3DS game because I was just getting aggravated. I was stuck in the water temple.
That's because
Yes, it was stuck in the water temple.
that game is responsible for any time I enter a water temple.
Damn that water temple.
Yeah, anytime there's a water level, I break out into a cold sweat now because of that damn game in the water temple and how long it took me to beat it. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I had to put it down for Pokemon for a little while because I was stuck in the water temple, and I was just like, no, it's happening.
When I played through Twilight Princess, I hit the water temple, and I was like, oh god. And I got up and walked away for a half hour. I was like, it's a water temple in Zelda. And then I got through it, I was like, this was easy. It's like they're making up for the fact they raped me repeatedly in Ocarina of Time on this temple. Repeatedly.
Yeah, that's about right.
I like that
crap.
Cody doesn't even have a rebuttal for this. He's just like, yeah.
All I remember in that damn temple is like, oh crap, I just played the wrong song and raised the water up to level 3 instead of level 2. Now I gotta go explore for 20 minutes again to figure out how to get it back to where I need it. So it only goes up to level 2.
And they have a second quest that I haven't even played yet.
Is that the Master Quest? Or
The Master Quest, yeah. I've started it on my GameCube.
it's even worse, man. The Master Quest it's designed to be hard, so the water temple on that, you might as well just start crying now.
Good.
We played it when I was in
Sound like fun.
When I was in college, my roommate had a GameCube, and we picked up one of the. They had that one version of the GameCube disc that came with like the Master Quest and Ocarina of Time remastered for GameCube on it. So we picked up that. We were playing through the Master Quest, and it is some of the saddest I've ever seen people in my life. Is when they'd come in to try and play and be like, "No, I can't get past this." It was Zelda designed to make you lose your spirit, and now I'm sad.
Well, on that note,
Too much sad news.
Let's
We should talk about
I know, right?
how did I'm excited about Mario Kart turn into the water temple and made me want to die?
because I talked about Zelda, and that's the first thing I thought.
And it
I'm
sneaks
sorry,
in there.
people.
We did have a mention about Star Wars from Drasman in the chat room. He said he just liked the fact that there was a shot of a practical set.
That's true.
Speaking of which, it's from a video with J.J. Abrams. And anybody that doesn't know, if you go to amaze.com, J.J. Abrams is offering a contest where if you donate money to UNICEF, you can get all sorts of other stuff, but the rest of that shit doesn't matter. All that matters is you have a chance to win a fucking role in Star Wars. It is the ultimate nerd lottery. I put my $10 down yesterday, so for $10 you can get a shot at being flown to London, flight and hotel included for 2 people, and you get to actually be in Episode 7.
That's awesome.
I'll do it.
So awesome.
There's gonna be a lot of people entering that contest, though.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, in the video he's what he said they were in Abu Dhabi, I think, and it shows like it looks like they're back on Tatooine, like it's all desert set up. It looks like the kind of like a shopping area, and they showed one of the actual new aliens come trudging by with like this weird backpack filled with critters and cages. So yeah, it's good to see a lot of practical stuff, like not all CGI shit.
That was one of my biggest fears when they announced this. It's just like, remember CGI Yoda, guys?
I'm generally very critical of J.J. Abrams, but one of the decisions he made early on to film this new trilogy and with regular film and not digitally,
Yeah,
he
the fact that
knows
he's
what to
doing
do to try and make it touch old school Star Wars.
Yeah, the fact that he's doing it on film tells me, yeah, he's going to have practical mixed with CGI, that's when you get really good sci-fi films.
So is Disney's oversight playing a big role in this? Because I know a lot of the Marvel movies use animatronics heavily over CGI, like especially Thor, and not so much. Well, Spider-Man's Sony, so never mind. But like Thor uses a lot of really good animatronics, and I can't think of any other examples. Like Red Skull. Red Skull, if that was George Lucas, would have been some really awful, like I Am Legend, like horrible. This is obviously not real zombie or guy or whatever. But I think all the Marvel movies have done a good job, and maybe that's because it's under the Disney umbrella, but I don't know.
I don't know, because Disney's kind of made it a point of saying we're kind of staying mostly hands-off on Marvel and Star Wars. They have their own teams in place to do all of this already, and they kind of just provide the money and some oversight from time to time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Star Wars... Well, we came out and it was noted, and I think it was Mark Hamill that came out and said in an interview he'd been contacted like 2 years ago by Lucasfilm about coming back to do Star Wars before the acquisition. So I think plans were already in place for 7, 8, 9 before the Disney purchase.
Yeah.
My understanding was it was always supposed to be 3 trilogies. From years ago, I thought I heard...
Yeah, some of Lucas's interviews in like the late 70s, early 80s, he'd said stuff like that before. Then he kind of changed his story with the prequels. He was like, no, this is just the 6 movies about Anakin Skywalker. He's the central character of everything.
I don't think that's true either.
It was marketing.
It's the story of 2 droid buddies and their adventures with stupid humans.
Yeah.
I like that plan.
Honestly, the only thing that has me miffed about Star Wars 7 so far is no Billy D. Williams. Everyone else is coming back, but
I
not
was thinking
Lando.
that too.
Dude, he's too busy with dancing slowly with the stars.
And he's not even on there anymore, man. Get Billy D. back. I'm calling it right now. Chancellor Calrissian.
That would be awesome. Hey, we don't know. I mean, like, they announced the cast, but it's not like we know every single person that's going to be in the next 3 films.
That's true.
Maybe he's going to be filming in the, the Han Solo single film. Or maybe he's going to show up in the Yoda film.
They did also, the guy who directed Godzilla is going to be doing a Star Wars solo film they announced this week also.
I did like Godzilla.
I haven't seen
new Godzilla?
Yes.
Oh, alright, never mind.
What were you hoping was the 1998 Godzilla?
I'm actually in the middle of writing an op-ed for CodyGoff.com about. You'll just go there later today. I started writing it when I was really drunk last night, and it's about how much better the 1998 movie was and why I refuse to see the new one.
What? How drunk fucking were you?
Right?
It's a complete troll post, but it's gonna be hilarious, especially if anybody takes me seriously.
So Ryan's going to read this, and his head's going to explode, is what you're saying.
Pretty much.
I think Cody's going to cause nerd rage planet-wide with that one. Jesus.
Let's just say Puff Daddy is a big part of the article. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Somebody post-show needs to call Ryan and tell him before he reads this article, start a Google Hangout with a camera on his face so he can just watch.
No
To
doubt.
gradually get angrier and angrier.
He's traveling for work right now, so he probably won't get it until tomorrow or maybe even Tuesday.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so email him and tell him he needs to have a camera on his face as he reads Cody's article. We want proof.
We want reaction. This is what we are looking for.
Indeed.
This is fantastic. I can't wait to read this now.
Good. I hope.
Somebody Twitter at him right now, so that we don't. I'll try to text him later if I remember, but somebody Twitter at him.
We'll get right on that. But Naki, I know you've been sitting on some news, and I'll be ready to queue up some Super Dick mode if you need it. But we're gonna toss it to you for your 2 cents.
Okay, so
Get 'em.
let's talk about how much of a dickhole David S. Goyer is.
Oh, I had a feeling this was going to come up. I read all the articles on Mary Sue about this. I read all the backlash.
Okay, so we already know as like a fact how much I hated Man of Steel. So
I'm there with you. Don't worry.
So on top of that, apparently a podcast called Script Notes interviewed a bunch of screenwriters in front of a live audience, including Andrea Burloff, Christopher Marcus, and Stephen McFeely, who wrote. Andrea Burloff wrote The Legend of Conan. Christopher Marcus, Stephen McFeely did The Winter Soldier, and David S. Goyer. If you don't know who he is, he wrote Man of Steel. So there you go.
He was involved in the Batman trilogies, but Christopher Nolan basically rewrote everything he provided.
Basically,
And he did Blade Trinity, I think.
So nothing good.
Hey, hold the fuck on there. There's
Blade
nothing wrong with the Blade trilogy.
Yeah.
No,
he was just on Trinity. He just did the third one.
Anyways. So, he didn't give away any spoilers for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, which, let me tell you, that has the most animated movie title ever. But anyway.
Some of the memes are fantastic, though.
Is it bad that the title just makes you want to laugh every time I hear it?
Dawn of Justice.
And the best meme is the Superman crying one. It's supposed to be my movie!
But anyway, so She-Hulk came up because of I think there is something coming out called Agent of Style. I don't know exactly where this came up, but the host Craig Mazin started off saying the real name for She-Hulk was Slut Hulk. That was the whole point. Let's just make a green chick with enormous boobs. And she's Hulk strong, but not massive, right? She's real lean and stringy. Goyer responded, she's still pretty chunky. She was like Chyna from WWE. Mazin responded to that with, the point of She-Hulk was she was to appeal sexistly to 10-year-old boys, and it worked on me. This is where it gets crazy. Goyer responded to this, I have a theory about She-Hulk, which was created by a man, right? And at the time in particular, I think 95% of comic book readers were men. Wrong. And certainly almost all of the comic book writers were men. Also, but that was right. So the Hulk was this classic male power fantasy. It was like most of the people reading comic books were these people like me, who were just little kids getting the shit kicked out of them every day. And so they created She-Hulk, right? Who is still smart. I think She-Hulk is the chick you could fuck if you were the Hulk, right? You know what I'm saying? She-Hulk was the extension of the male power fantasy. So it's like, I'm going to be this geek who becomes the Hulk, and then let's create a giant green porn star only the Hulk could fuck. All right?
His cousin, I might add, too.
Let that just sink in.
And here's a weird roundabout thing. Everybody complained about that, especially reading those articles, but then they're talking right now about doing Old Man Logan as the next Wolverine film, and the basis for all the villains in that book is that Hulk fucks his cousin and has a bunch of Hulks, and they take over the goddamn planet.
Yes.
So he's not the first person to think of it, that's all I'm saying.
He's not the first person, but the thing that bothers me wasn't so much that he first off apparently has no respect for any of our any comic book fan anyways, because he has been quoted in the past that listening to comic book fans would make you an idiot.
Well, he has no respect for a lot of other things. You heard the Martian Manhunter crack he made too, right?
Yeah, I was actually going to just get to that.
Yeah, okay, I'll leave that for you then.
Part of the article here. But anyways, first off, you don't have your facts straight. And apparently you think only men read comic books. But then again...
That being said, he doesn't want to have his facts straight. He doesn't give two shits, it seems.
He doesn't give two shits. But,
which is a huge part of the problem.
We're his paycheck, not his fans. That's all he sees it as, I think.
Well, I understand where this comes from because I worked for a year in a comic book shop, and rather than discussing comics, I was more or less having to prove myself every day that I worked in that comic book shop, saying that, yes, I actually do read comic books, and I do know who these characters are. So, yes, it gets really, really frustrating and annoying, and then to have somebody who has a reach, who has a, could actually reach out and touch, like, the future minds of comic book readers, say shit like this. This is why girls don't read comics anymore. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say that. That's why girls are afraid to go into comic book shops. Because of shit like that. Like, if I don't go to the ones that I know, I have been sexually harassed in almost every comic book shop I've been in. It's just
this is why girls need to read Princeless.
Yes, Princeless is amazing. Did we already lose Cody?
I think he's probably just getting more coffee. Yeah, I was going to say, I love you, Jeremy Whitley. He's awesome. I met that guy at Lexington. One of the coolest cats out there. He made Princeless. Princeless is the story Disney should have been telling for the last 50 fucking years.
Princeless
and
is amazing.
Really ready to scream? Go check the chat room. There's somebody in there named Mr. Pickle that has a comment that you might want to hear.
Well, I will point out, She-Hulk's
I can't go into the chat room at the moment.
Okay.
So
I'll just say, Pickle wrote, the fact is Goyer is right.
let me point something out real quick. She-Hulk's origin, it wasn't because of that. She-Hulk was created by Stan Lee in '92, right before he left. It was basically because they wanted to do a female Hulk that resembled the Bionic Woman to try and capitalize on that. That was the thing. That was the craze they were trying to capitalize on.
Okay, I'm going to ignore Mr. Pickles' remark because it's. I'm just going to take the high road on that. I'm using the Mary Sue's article because it's just. It pretty much said everything that I wanted to say. She wrote in the first paragraph after her quote, just to clarify some points, She-Hulk was indeed created in 1980 by men, Stan Lee and John Buscema. I'm saying things wrong. And generally, She-Hulk is not portrayed as the only woman the Hulk can have sex with because, first and foremost, they're cousins. And the Hulk has had several romantic interests in comics. Also true.
Yep.
Also, we'd be remiss if we didn't add it's an extremely offensive thing to say about a female character. Since her introduction, She-Hulk has been a woman of agency and strength, one who has quickly took control of her mutation to become a hero, and who has never let herself be held back by sexist double standards and expectations of others who can't handle her power, intelligence, and sexual confidence.
I will say I misspoke. '92 is when Stan Lee last wrote her rather. That's what I misread. So
then, instead of shutting up, Goyer continued on.
Well, do you want to get Draftsman's comment before you move on to the Manhunter piece? Draftsman said in the chat room, he said, it's Goyer. Guillermo said it best. He's a tattooed little freak that thinks he's Dostoevsky. I think he's a creator that likes to run his mouth. He's creative and difficult. Now, Pickle, from his point of view, said speaking as a screenwriter and someone outside the comic book machine, he thinks he's right. He's entitled to his opinion, too.
Entitled to opinion, yes.
That is true.
That is all I'm giving you.
Freedom of speech guarantees you can say whatever you want. You have to deal with the consequences, but you can say whatever the fuck you want.
So then it continued on with Goyer. He asked the crowd, how many people in the audience have heard of Martian Manhunter? And then after hearing light applause, he added, how many people that raised their hands has ever been laid?
It's low-hanging fruit right there. I mean, that's just a cheap joke that's been made multiple times. It doesn't need to be done. I don't think it's that controversial or scandalous, but it kind of goes to show you don't have much respect for your fans.
You have no respect for your fans.
And the worst thing is that I was always, like, basically a Goyer apologist because I liked what he did with Trinity. I liked the idea of what he was going to do with the Flash movie. At this point now, I would be happy to not buy anything the guy works on again after the comments he made at this one little fucking interview.
He has said that people, what did he say? Martian Manhunter. Well, he hasn't been rebooted as the mainstay in the Justice League. He can't be fucking called the Martian Manhunter because that's goofy. He can be called Manhunter. The whole deal with Martian Manhunter is he's an alien living among us. So he comes down to Earth and he's like, unlike Superman, and decides, unlike Superman who already exists in the world now, that he's just going to be a homicide detective. So instead of using superpowers and mind reading and like, oh, I could figure this out, the president's lying or whatever, he just decides to disguise himself as a human homicide detective, Dare to Dream. Okay, even if you just watched the old Justice League comic or TV show, you know who Martian Manhunter is. Like,
or Smallville.
Or Smallville,
or Young Justice.
Yeah. Awesome cartoon, by the way.
Yeah, I don't understand. He obviously doesn't know his fan base. Or doesn't care. Well, let's say it right. He doesn't care about his fan base. He doesn't care about anything that isn't in his stupid fucking little head. So I don't know how he I went into my original rage about it on Twitter. You can go back a few days and you can see. It's not like I tweet much anymore. But I was talking with a couple of people, and like one person said, maybe he's supposed to say negative things towards Marvel. I'm like, but John Johns isn't Marvel, But but he it'd
be one thing if he was just blasting the other company and he was talking shit about She-Hulk, but to turn around and talk shit about a property at the company that he's working for, that's just stupid.
Especially when they're basically setting up Justice League, the movie.
That he is supposedly writing. I mean, that's what brought this about. Is he's like Martian Manhunter is really hard to write for, which I think is kind of a legitimate thing. Is not a lot of people can write Martian Manhunter well.
Saying that it's hard to write for is one thing. Saying that a character that, I mean, if you tell me Aquaman's goofy, I can buy that because that's basically something that almost all the fan community believes. But to say Martian Manhunter, that the word Martian is fucking goofy, there's nothing wrong with the word Martian. How does that not work? He's just a superhero. And one of the comics on the Mary Sue article I love because one of the people talked about the fact that Martian Manhunter chooses to use half of his time as a superhero, and the other half of the time he's using his powers, even in his off hours, as a detective to solve crimes and make life better for other humans. So he's basically a superhero 24/7.
And not that I like Superman. We've had this discussion in the past. I'm not a big fan of Superman, but his disguise is Clark Kent, whereas I don't think I have to, and I'll fully admit that I haven't read a Justice League comic in forever because I just don't have any interest in it. But I'm pretty positive, Martian Manhunter is basically of the same descent, and he's blasting basically the other version of Superman.
Well, I mean, at one point in time, Superman's also equated Martian Manhunter in the comics to being another version of himself, power-wise and things like that.
Well, yeah, he has all those Superman's powers plus more.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it just kind of, it's a shame to see someone who just doesn't get it. I mean, fans are not going to these movies because David S. Goyer writes them. They're going to these movies because they love Superman. They love Martian Manhunter. They love those kind of things. And to kind of go out there and blast one of the more beloved characters of the Justice League being the Manhunter and kind of make fun of the fans that do like him, that's not cool. I mean, and I understand that he's taking a shot at Marvel. I don't think he's right on it, but that's his opinion to have. It's a podcast. He's being asked his opinion. I think he's wrong. And he's allowed to be wrong, in my opinion.
He's allowed to be wrong, and he's allowed to voice his opinion, obviously. I voice my opinion all the time on here. We all voice our opinions all the time on here. Like I said, I have a dislike for Superman, I have a dislike for Captain America. Like, I just don't care about these characters. But if you're going to dislike somebody for so much, I would suggest having your reasons straight as to why you dislike somebody.
Yeah, and have a better understanding of the character.
Well, I mean, I will say this in all fairness. A lot of people are jumping on Goyer because, number one, he's not really very well liked by the comic book fans either. So this is another reason a lot of people can jump on him. And I don't think it's unfairly done, but I think it's getting a little more publicity because of who he is.
Well, it's also because of what he said. To compare She-Hulk to a porn star is a little out there.
Yeah, and this is the guy that's writing Wonder Woman's stuff for a Man of Steel sequel.
Yay!
Yep.
I fucking I'm waiting for it to be. She becomes Wonder Woman because she was raped, or it's gonna be something okay. I fully admit I've not been on the DC bandwagon for the past year or so because they haven't done anything that I like. But Wonder Woman is still one of my top people because it's fucking Wonder Woman. I didn't have a lot to choose from as a kid to have as women superheroes, and if she becomes Wonder Woman because she's raped, that's the thing that I'm scared of that's going to happen, or she's going to be a weak person. Wonder Woman can beat the shit out of Superman. She's done it several times. I have all of the proof of it, and if she becomes a weak character, I'm going to be so ragingly pissed. I won't even be able to be on the podcast because I'm going to be rampaging through Chicago.
In all fairness, yeah, if they make her origin something to do with being a victim at all, that will offend the shit out of me.
She is one of the strongest characters out there, and everybody has said, of DC, they've been saying that she's too difficult to write, which is bullshit. She's an Amazon. The end.
Well, yeah, I mean, that argument kind of loses some weight because of the stuff that Marvel's been doing. Honestly, they've done a movie about a talking tree and a raccoon. If that's not hard to write.
Well, see, and here's the thing. Because that seems to be what everybody says she's hard to write. It's not that she's hard to write. There have been great Wonder Woman stories. It's hard to write a Wonder Woman story that apparently you can get DC and Warner Brothers to sign off on. That's the fucking problem. There's so much oversight on the DC side and so many people you have to make happy that I think that's where they're really having problems and, having people if you have David S. Goyer, which, you know, I still love a lot of the stuff he did previously, up to these idiotic comments, I was a fan of David S. Goyer. But if, like, that's your front guy for writing your biggest film, you know, a guy that half your audience hates, like, just think if, like, Kevin Feige or Joss Whedon was over at Marvel saying, oh, yeah, we don't really care about the Ant-Man movie. That character fucking sucks anyways. Like, people would lose their shit.
Basically. Basically. So I'm wondering, you know, I'm still not going to see Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice because I hated fucking Man of Steel, so why would I fucking bother? But it's like I really want a good DC movie. Like I'm not even it's been since The Dark Knight. I'm not even giving it to The Dark Knight Rises. It's been since The Dark Knight that there has been a good DC movie.
What was wrong with The Dark Knight?
I was wondering when it was going to come in.
Take back your movies, DC. Take back your movies.
I don't understand the problem. I have a question for clarification.
I love Tom Hardy.
Naki, question for clarification. So you talked about you don't want Wonder Woman's origin story for her to be like a rape victim or whatever. So, first of all, when you were talking about her being a powerful character, were you talking physically or like?
Both.
Okay. So physically I can get or whatever, but wasn't Batman didn't Batman become a superhero because he was a victim? Like his parents got shot in front of him.
That's not what I'm meaning. Like DC really likes to play up the whole victim thing, like with all of their characters' origin stories.
Yeah, Superman was an orphan, his planet blew up, Batman's parents got killed in front of him. Like it seems to be a theme to me. So
and with a lot of superheroes, not just DC, Marvel too, like Peter Parker.
Yeah, like that's an ongoing thing with superheroes. Wonder Woman, until the New 52, didn't have that as her origin story. New 52 Wonder Woman she was
made of clay, wasn't it?
Yeah,
no, it
she was
pre-New
made
52.
of clay.
It was made of clay.
There was two origins. I think the Made of Clay was when they rebooted it.
Yeah,
when Jonathan redid her.
Yeah,
and her mom, made her of clay and basically cast a magic spell, and she came to life.
Right. She was never a victim. Her origin story was never a victim.
Okay.
She was created, raised, trained as an Amazon, and then sent to the world of man to be a diplomat to make the world a better place.
Right. It was never.
There's nothing victimized about that. And on the physical side, she can kick the living shit out of Superman because Superman's one other weakness besides kryptonite is magic, and everything Diana does is based in magic. Her strength is magic. It's everything about her is based in magic, and so she can physically beat the dog shit out of Superman.
Yeah, you've got the sword, the lasso. They're all magical. The bracelets.
Her strength even is magic.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And I had never even thought of, like, when you're talking about, like, oh, I hope they don't change her origin story to, like, her being a rape victim or something. I was like, wait, what? Like, why would that happen? Why would that be a thing that happens? Like,
Zack Snyder likes
even,
that kind of stuff too sometimes.
Would never even occur to me that would be a thing they would think of. But
I love Zack Snyder, but I do have to say he did do Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
I never saw Sucker Punch.
Oh,
but
God,
but that
springboards off fantasy film.
So that springboards off the what was that guy that made the comments about the She-Hulk that we've been talking about for like 15 minutes?
David S. Goyer.
David S. Goyer, right? So that would play into David S. Goyer's like power fantasy thing. Like if Wonder Woman was a rape victim, couldn't that become like a female power fantasy story that like then she gets vengeance and then like kicks a lot of ass because she was a victim and then overcomes it? Like isn't that
That's the thing that drives me crazy with a lot of our female superheroes is that they feel like they have to. Well, and some of the female superheroes, it makes sense for them to be victims first, but with Wonder Woman, it doesn't. Like she's just magic. That's basically what Wonder Woman is. She's just magic. Like I think one of Black Widow's origin stories, she's a victim, and they wrote a story that made sense.
That was the whole Red Room thing where she'd been brainwashed and stuff growing up. That point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That one is the one I'm thinking of. Harley Quinn. She played into Joker's. What's it called? Something syndrome. Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. So she was a victim in a way. Like they make a lot of stories based off of women coming out of rape. or Stockholm Syndrome or things like that. It's really weird how people write women in comics. Like Anthony had said, read Princeless, where it's just a girl who is strong because she's strong. Like she decides she doesn't want to be the princess in the tower, and she takes control of her own life and leaves. You know, it's the stuff that we always feel like this need that everybody has to be a victim to become strong. There isn't that need. You don't need to be a victim.
Okay, I understand what you're saying because all of you have a much greater comic book base than I do, so you have a lot more knowledge on like what else is happening out there. So thank you for clarifying that.
No, not a problem. I'm glad to clarify. It's just it's really aggravating to see something that you love so much. I don't have any of my comics.
This week's poll stack.
Oh god, my monthly poll stack was over $40. It was so bad.
Oh, speaking of which, and you want to talk strong females? I can even pull an example from the big two. Firestar. The new cover of the Amazing Spider-Man is Spider-Man Amazing Friends, or Amazing X-Men actually. Firestar was born with her powers. She's a mutant, and basically a couple bad things happened to her in her life, but she just was a badass chick from the get-go, and will
she's a
burn your
Avenger
shit
too.
up. Yep, former Avenger, former New Warrior. You want to read some badass chicks? Go read the old New Warriors. Namorita, Firestar, running around kicking ass with the boys, no victimization, just two badass chicks.
Even Fearless Defenders. I mean, it didn't do so well comic book wise. It's actually really well written.
That was the one with Misty Knight and the other chick, right?
Yeah. Fearless Defenders had was 3 women who were just really strong characters that were not victims. It was like female Thor.
Before we move off the topic, I told the chat room we'd come back to some of their comments. Draftsman had some pretty insightful stuff on She-Hulk. He goes, She-Hulk was and has been drawn in a lot of ways to look attractive. She did look like the cover of an old-school porn star movie with big hair. He goes, but how she looks does not take away from the fact she's a strong, humane, and complete character.
Yep. And honestly, in one part of it, in Goyer's defense, literally She-Hulk was drawn for male readers.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
The art part of it, I mean, forget the origin, the story, the other stuff, but the actual art part of it, I mean, the Hulk gets stronger, he gets huge. She-Hulk just became, like, giant, height-wise. Yeah, and then just became, like, this oversized, big-titted woman.
So Pickle brought up a point, too. I haven't read this character. He goes, don't forget about the ultimate victim origin story, Lady Death. I don't know her origin, to be honest.
So Lady Death, I actually read Lady Death when she first came out. She was actually a really badass character. And then I don't know what they did, but all it is sex now. Like I don't even think there's a story anymore. It's just Lady Death in a bikini or with as little clothing as humanly fucking possible. But yeah, they gave her this really weird victim origin story, and it didn't make any sense with anything that had happened already. It was just like, none of this.
And then I think Draftsman has the perfect comment to close out the David Goyer She-Hulk conversation, all that. We'll move on after this. He goes, I think we are all grateful that Naki has not been exposed to gamma radiation. Otherwise, we'd be trying to explain why there was a path of destruction carved through the country from Illinois to Goyer's location.
That's true. But here's the thing, is that She-Hulk is actually a lawyer, and I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah. With the red hair, I don't know. I think Naki could make a pretty good red She-Hulk.
Yeah, the red She-Hulk. Pickle does comment in there. He goes, Lady Death sucks now.
Well, there you go.
It's porn. It's like when you buy a Grimm fairy tale or
actually, read the Robin Hood books, and Grimm fairy tales are actually pretty good.
No, I mean just the overall general Grimm fairy tales. Because I read the Robin Hood ones. They were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
What was that other one?
And
all the Zenescope books basically are just tits and ass with a little story.
Yeah, Pickle did point out.
You know that when you buy them. That's what they're there.
Exactly. Part of the reason why Lady Death sucks is evidently the creator, I guess his name is Polito or whatever, sold the rights.
Brian Polito.
So that's
why
he
sold the rights, yeah. So they were able to do whatever they wanted with the character.
Yay.
Well, I think we've driven this topic down into the ground, I think, and looking at the timer, we're about ready to wrap up. So we'll stop beating up on David S. Goyer because the rest of the internet's doing a good job already. How does that sound?
That's true. I don't know. I think we're fired up. I think we could do a 3-hour episode today. Let's just keep rolling.
No, I got things to do. Stuff and things.
I got to see the X-Men's, yo.
That's true.
I got to make shishka boobies.
Wait, what?
I have to make shish kaboobs. I make shish kebabs with chicken breast, so I call them shish kebabs.
Oh, I was like, what the
Now
hell?
I don't know if I'm hungry or horny.
I guess you could be both.
Not both.
I don't have sex with that animal.
I mean, if you could be hangry, why can't you be? I don't know.
Horngry?
Horngry?
Horngry.
We
Horngry.
are now of the
Horngry.
horngry tribe.
Content Horngry.
All right, this is our goal, guys. We're gonna make Horngry a real thing. So hashtag everything Horngry.
Hashtag
Okay.
Horngry.
Everything is horngry now.
Horngry. This is the new rules here. But since we're near the end of our time, we'll just wrap up our traditional way. We'll just share the things that we've been getting into to kind of share the cool stuff and all that. And I'll go first because that's my prerogative. Is like I told in the beginning of the story, or the show rather, I've been playing Zelda a lot on my DS, and that's really about all I've been doing is playing Zelda and watching stuff on TV that I hadn't gotten caught up on.
I'm pretty sure you also backed a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I did. Oh, yeah. I did back a Kickstarter, same one Anthony did. It's called Toe Tag Riot. It's about zombies versus the Westboro Baptist Church.
Good. Good.
It
And
is.
Matt Miner, Sean Von Gorman, and I also forgot something else. The colors on it are by John Rauch, so it's fucking gorgeous.
Yes, it is gorgeous. If you get the chance, go check out Matt Miner on Twitter, or just go to Kickstarter and look up Toe Tag Riot. It is
Or just toetagriot.com. They bought
Toe
the
Tag Riot. It is looking like it is going to be a fantastically hilarious book, and the best thing is the Westboro Baptist Church has been retweeting things about it because, like, we don't care if we're getting eaten by zombies. You have our messages on the cover where we say God hates fags and stuff like that.
Yeah, only because on the cover they're holding the posters that say God hates fags. The Westboro Baptist Church is actually backing this comic.
Yes, so they've been tweeting about it and things like that. If you want more information, he does have a press release. It's out. We do have that over on GoToGeek.com, but check out the Kickstarter.
Stupid.
It looks like a hilarious project, and I'm just really excited to see what comes out of it. So that's what I've been getting into, and I'm just going to work my way across the bottom of the screen. Naki, what have you been getting into?
I got a tablet for free.
Nice,
Uh,
right? Does it
Verizon-
work?
So Verizon was having a special for like this $50 tablet, and I go in and they tell me that I've been overpaying on my bill, and apparently I was supposed to get a discount from my job and things like that. So I just got a tablet for free because I've been overpaying on my bill.
But I guess the question is, does it work well?
Well, the first one set itself on fire. So
Well, there's my answer.
That company hates you.
They do. So I
They
wound
took
up-
your money, and instead of giving you a refund, they gave you a bomb.
So I brought it back, and the guy was just like, I am so sorry this happened. Here is a new one. So I got a new one. And this one has not set itself on fire. In fact, this is what I was reading all the Mary Sue comments and stuff off of. I've been drawing. So expect a mini comic called Suspect Steak. Called Splatter Day, Attack of Suspect Steak. You can ask Potato Waste on Twitter what that's about if you want. Then there's I've also been reading all my books on it. And then let's see, what else have I been doing? I don't think I've been doing much else because I've just been working. So yeah, go team. Oh, I went back to school. There you go.
So you're saying you're a co-ed again?
I am.
And she's horngry.
And I'm bored.
Co-eds. I'm so glad someone added that. How about yourself, Cody? What have you been getting into? What are you getting into?
I have resumed my playthrough of Bravely Default on the
Ooh.
3DS.
I've heard that's good.
Very good.
Is I was just gonna ask you about that because I was looking at it and I'm like, do I get it? I don't know.
Well, I bought the cartridge version rather than download it specifically so that I can sell it when I'm done. Because now that we're adults, or at least numerically, technically adults, I no longer have much time to replay through JRPGs after I've beaten them once,
I know
unless
that
they're
feeling.
like phenomenal. So I know I'm going to sell it when I'm done. So hold off on purchasing until I'm done with mine, if you don't mind waiting a bit.
That's fine. I've got time.
Yeah. And other than that, I've just been writing about Puff Daddy. Obviously. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is in season 3 right now, and it's good. It's a shonen anime, just like Dragon Ball Z, kind of like Fight of the Week style, but The art is amazing, and it's really good. So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, since we have an unqualified gamer here, let me ask this real quick. I don't know if you'll know. Tales of the Abyss on the DS, is it worth my playing?
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, the Tales games are really hit or miss. Like, I love Tales of Symphonia, for instance, but some of the others I played, I'm like, eh.
Yeah, I can't answer your question about that one.
Okay,
but,
I didn't know if you played it.
Not personally.
DS style, Professor Layton games are always good.
Okay, well, that's possible.
Those are pretty solid.
We'll close with Anthony here, what he's been getting into, because generally he's got a pretty good list of stuff, because he's more in tune with the comic stuff than I am anymore. So, Anthony, what have you been getting into? What are you getting into?
Indeed, my comic stack is getting big. I just added a couple more books. Mark Miller's new book, MPH, came out. It's a crazy story about super speedsters. Great first issue. Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Avon Oeming, the guys who brought you Powers, are back once again with the United States of Murder Incorporated. It's worth it just for the title. Yeah, lots of great books coming out, but right now the king of them fucking all, speaking of the beautiful colors of Mr. John Rauch, Invincible. It says it right on the cover. The last 4 issues have been killer, and yeah, what it says on the cover is the only superhero comic book you will ever need. Because it used to say the best superhero comic book in the universe. Both are true. I was thinking about the other day, if I literally had to cut down my pull list to 1 book, this would be the only book I read. Wow. Invincible is the best fucking thing out there.
That's awesome.
And the story has gone insane. Plus, issue 111 just came out. Huge, big, crazy stuff happening. But it was also the anniversary issue. If you take away like all the fill-ins from Cory Walker or whatever, this is the 100th issue that Ryan Ottley has drawn since he came on the book. The guy is a machine. He's fucking unstoppable, and his artwork is gorgeous. Yeah, and for anybody that doesn't know, it's written by Robert Kirkman, the guy who has that little TV show called The Walking Dead. That
you might have heard of it.
Watched. Yeah, you might have heard of it. It's his take on the superhero genre, so with Kirkman writing it, it's not like standard Marvel DC stuff. It basically takes the very simple idea of if you were a kid growing up and found out that your dad was Superman, and then later found out that he was actually evil Superman there to conquer the world, what would you do? And it's gone from there through some of the most epic battles I've ever seen in comic books. It's one of those books where, like in issue 15, there's an epic fight, and you're like, there will never be able to top that. And then 20 issues later, they did another epic fight that was way better, way bigger, insane. You're like, oh, they'll never top that. And then 30 issues later, they did it again. They just keep topping themselves. It just keeps getting better. It's
like some of the fights weren't irredeemable when I read that book. You're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is it's a solid 6 out of 10.
Yeah, on the first day, on the most boring issues, Invincible's an 8 out of 10, I would say, on the worst day ever. It's such a damn good book.
Nice.
For people that don't like superhero books, I've given them Invincible, and they've enjoyed it. And for people that do like superhero books, they just think it's such a weird take on the whole genre that, it's such a fresh, original idea that Kirkman started with, that everything he's done past it just keeps getting weirder and crazier. And whenever you think of an idea, it's like, oh, well, a character wouldn't do that or something, blah, blah, blah. He usually thinks of that and answers those questions along the storyline, which is great.
That's awesome.
It's on the only other thing I've been getting into is my Kickstarter that I also backed besides Toe Tag Riot. It's only got 5 days left. They're a little over halfway, so I'm not sure if they're going to make it, so they need help. It's called Blood and Dust, The Life and Undeath of Judd Glennie. It's a new, original, very cool idea of a story about a vampire who is the original American vampire in their world. And he's an outlaw throughout the Civil War, and then part of the story takes place in the 70s where he's taking care of these crazy-ass vampire kids. Gorgeous artwork. I had both of the writers on the Next Element podcast, so if you want to hear like an hour about it, go listen to the Next Element podcast, issue 41. You won't regret it. It's a great-looking book. And go back to Sucker so it gets made because I want my physical copy.
According to Kickstarter, it's 59% backed. It closes on Saturday, May 31st at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. So there's still time, guys.
There's still time. They got 5 days left. Yeah, less than halfway to go. So there's still time. And yeah, just go look at the artwork and watch the video.
Yeah,
if you watch the video on it, I don't know why you wouldn't back it because the art is so awesome. They've been working on this book for like 2 years, the writers said. It's good stuff.
It is. Just looking at it right now, I'm intrigued. Oh, one other thing I did read that if you like Batman Beyond, read Batman Beyond 2.0 by Kyle Higgins. The cliffhanger this week was mind-blowing, and I don't know how they're going to fix it. It was that good.
Ooh.
Yes.
I still need to finish my rewatch of that.
It is, because right now they've taken if you guys are familiar with the Justice Lords from the cartoon, which is the alternate world Justice League that basically took over the world, they've brought the Justice Lords into the Batman Beyond universe. Really
Nice.
Really good, and I don't know how they're going to fix it. In fact, I was behind on it, and I saw him tweeting about it yesterday. He's like, I'm sorry, guys, those of you that read this, it's a huge cliffhanger. Don't worry, I'll get you out of it eventually. And then I read it, I was like, son of a bitch, what did he just do? It's that good. It is that damn good. I don't want to spoil you guys. If you want to know after the show, I'll tell you, but I don't want to spoil anyone listening.
I had a question, and then I forgot it. Yay. I lost it. It's gone forever. Derailed.
Fair enough.
And X-Men Days of Future Past. Everybody go see it just for Evan Peters. Everybody was worried about that Quicksilver outfit. I thought it was one of the dorkiest looking things in the world. When you see him on film, in character, set in the 70s, surrounded by other people wearing god-awful fashion, not only does it work, but his character is amazing. It's worth going and seeing the film just for his one scene where he's trying to escape the Pentagon.
All right, well,
the way they did it is gorgeous.
I'm hoping to see that film this evening, if not tomorrow, so I will take a look then.
And
But
wait till the end credits is where you'll get your stinger. It's at the very end. It's like 20 minutes into the credits.
But looking at the time, we're a little overtime this week, guys, so you get a little bonus content from ATGN, so we're here to help. Big thank you to Cody for joining us this week, and join us again next week.
Anytime, guys. I
Don't
have
forget-
no friends.
Check out his stuff over at unqualifiedgamers.com.
We'll have less Goyerness next week, Cody, so
Yes.
you can talk more.
We will make it Goyer
I'm sorry.
free.
I'm sorry.
Goyer free next week.
It's
And
all good.
let
I will have something to actually say next week too. So
He's gonna be in Mario Kart withdrawal while he comes on the show. He's gonna be
Oh,
sitting
you-
over there.
I'm gonna have the Wii U
Thumb-twitching while he's
gamepad
sitting
in my.
there.
Yeah, I'll have the Wii U gamepad in my hand. I can play it remotely. I can just sit here in my room.
So Cody's gonna be like,
Nice.
hold on a second, guys, hold on. Okay, I'm back. I got 30 seconds to wait.
I'm on Rainbow Road, guys!
So thank you so much to everyone that joined us live today, or anyone who's listening at a later date. Don't forget, we stream live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Do the math for the other time zones over at live.atgnpodcast.com. And you can always catch us over at atgnpodcast.com to download the podcast at a later date. Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you get a chance, go check out all the other great podcasts on the Gonna Geek Network. Go over to GonnaGeekNetwork.com. And there's a ton of other great shows there. So we'll see you next week, guys, and bye.
Robot penises!
Bye.